Hello, this is Dave, and welcome to Equity Story. Um, just having a look at the Dow. It's actually on the charts. It's holding up pretty fine at the moment. I know nearly every expert in the world is calling for a correction. Um, coming back to these sort of, you know, closer to a sort of maybe just having a look here, closer to a longer term moving average, and stocks, shares do eventually move back to a moving average eventually, and so does the market. However, often when everyone is calling for it, it doesn't always happen like that. So it is possible that really we could go on with it from here. And I must be just reading CNBC and all the news I'm hearing out of America. I think it is actually quite exciting at the moment to have some of the greatest businessmen in America actually running their economy for the first time. There could be amazing things. I was listening to a Nigel Farage interview where he was talking to Trump that they're going to get the free trade. They're going to try and get the free trade agreement done with the UK within 3 months. Now, this is a great thing about obviously businessmen and uh, business people running the states. It's not like politicians that take 2 years. Uh, these people know how to make deals, and they know how to make things work. And I think on the medium term, certainly, I think I'm really bullish on the markets. So, we're happy with how really we're seeing things at the moment to hold into some trends. And what we're trending at the moment, the market was down today for sort of 0.36%, but the gold holding up really well. FPH is holding up. Um, Ramsey Healthcare, you know, it's one of the sort of, how do you say, uh, the glass of our market. And again, it's a little bit down today, but and it is looking a bit weak. But we're sort of happy to hold it. We've got no issues with it whatsoever. We've got Hansen again up slightly today, but sort of just hugging these trend lines, which a lot of the stocks are at the moment. Domino's was up slightly today, and again, we're being a little bit careful at the moment. We're just basically sort of trending the, like I said, the graphs of our market. But again, they're near these sort of long-term moving averages, and for me at the moment, they look absolutely fine. Um, we were talking about the banks yesterday, and we did cut the ANZ, and I thought I'd just have a look at the banks on the charts so we could have a sort of a better look where we think they could be going. Um, like we said, what could have happened, we did see a bit of weakness. I did say that I think yesterday the banks could turn down more. They have come back right on support, so you can see ANZ sort of still holding that sort of short-term daily support. Again, with CBA, again, not quite as bad, but it has broken that sort of shorter term trend line. I think it looks to me it's going lower. Um, the same with NAB, exactly, all trending exactly the same, coming down to that sort of shorter term moving average. So all the banks really moving in tandem. And again, Westpac, quite interesting actually, did actually broke above, went below that trend line, and later on in the day it sort of worked its way up. But I do think these banks, generally speaking, are looking a little bit, and the sentiment in the air over the banks is looking a little bit weak at the moment. So I do think they're going to go lower, and certainly, I think Westpac, down to that sort of back to that sort of $31 is really possible. NAB even down to 28. ANZ maybe down to 28, even 27, and CBA, possibly back down to 78. So I think we just stay away from the banks at the moment. Like I was talking to one of the members today, there's nothing nicer than trending banks because if the worst came to worst, you've got a great dividend and you're in a pretty solid story. But at the moment, I think we should obviously be keeping well away from them. What was interesting today, and such, the market was down. Was a little bit of movement on the sort of microcap section, and some of those stocks, SW1 was up 10% today. It's not the greatest of chart. This is just come on the market. Stock that we do like and certainly looking good. GRB, little beer producer, certainly popping its head up. This is a sort of price action we like. We love to see these little stocks. This nice little trend on Gauge Rose, good little trend, nice little green candle. I think that looks actually very, very bullish. Star Group, just trading sideways, but one we're obviously a real believer in it. It's good to see it up today. HZR, I think at one stage today it was up a lot further, but again, really good to see these stocks when they just sort of poke their head up, and you see a little bit of life, because this has been a pretty unloved section of late. Obviously new here. Yeah. Again, trading perfectly normal. Normally for a bullish stock, had that nice little run up. Again, came down to that trend line, and obviously could run from here. It looks absolutely fine. And CM8, we spoke about this one last night, and I was saying that obviously it's something interesting. So poked its head up yesterday. Obviously, the ones in the know were buying, and then bang, up she went today. And I think at one stage today she was up 18%. And again, I think a pretty solid report. Wangle a little bit improved today. One stock actually is quite interesting. I was talking about this a few days ago, and I didn't put it on as a trend. TWE, but had a nice move today, up 6%. And I don't know if you know TWE, but we have trended before. It's actually looking pretty solid. I'd like to see it come back a little bit, see if it can over the next few days, and if it does, it could be an interesting possibility for next week. That's all I've got to talk about tonight on Equity Story. I think I'm going to try and put out some interesting, maybe trend a few smaller caps over the next few days. I don't normally like doing it. I most probably will put maybe a little bit of a stop loss on them, but I think there's some interesting movements at the moment in some of these little micro cap, sort of small cap iron ore plays. That's all I've got to talk about tonight at Equity Story, and I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to bringing you this report tomorrow. Good night.